Hey guys, welcome to Cars and Health Bars. On today's episode, we're going to be getting you all caught up again on where we have been and where we plan on going in the future. Also, we're going to have some updates on some upcoming car events, and we're going to get into why Jordan's PC just gave out on him. And with that being said, guys, let's get right into it. All right,
Mm.
so I want to get into a little bit of where you've been, especially because it's been a minute. I mean, it got to the point to where some fans are asking if the show was like split up, and it's just it just blows my mind. You guys, you have to understand we are car people with full time jobs,
It ain't
so
easy out here.
yeah, I mean, as you knew, I listened back to the last podcast Jordan was on just to get a refresher on where he was before, where you guys last thought he was. And your car wasn't even fixed whenever we last
No,
spoke. You were getting ready to fix your car. So a lot has happened since then. I mean, your PC kind of gave you some pretty drastic problems. And yeah, I kind of want to get you guys up to speed on where Jordan's been. And I'll just let you take the floor on what the haps has been.
it's hard to even think back 3 weeks ago, but yeah, so basically where we left off that following week, I go to work and I'm busy with this side job too during all this time. This side job kind of is a whole ordeal of itself. I can make a whole story on it. So, not to get too far in depth, but basically what turned into a simple, you know, ring and pinion turned into a multi-day ordeal that was like just not even my fault to get into it, I guess, but this thing was giving me so much trouble. It's amazing how I didn't realize what was going on. And so this is happening all after work, and I finally get my car going the weekend, put an oil pump in it because the relief valve was stuck open from too much debris clogging up. So it was literally forcing the piston to stay open.
Yeah, that was, just to see that in person, it was like, man, it's crazy how much wear had happened to that old pump housing.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's happened to quite a few people, but I don't know even exactly why so much debris gets there. Just
It's
must
just
be
I
a
mean,
design
on
issue.
top of that too, like, you had that trunnion issue way back when, and I mean, the amount of oil pressure that you're seeing now compared to, back whenever you were having these issues, it's insane. I mean, it's like you got a high volume pump on that thing.
The pressure is just about 5 to 10 pounds more, but it's not like a whole lot. But what's really changed is the cold pressure. It's been a lot higher, which is weird that you would figure it'd be less, but
Yeah.
because it's still a standard volume pump. Anyways, yeah, finally get my pump in. My car is running, yay. Right away, I notice, you know, the shocks on it are shot, and the
Oh,
front
yeah, I
sway
forgot
bar
about that.
and the links are shot. So that weekend I was busy, and I go back to work, still working on this diff during the uh time after work, and I get to the point where it's like draining me, and I was putting my front struts on the next weekend, right? And then this is when I hurt my thumb. We are also working on your car, mainly you working on your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost took my thumb off, so that was great.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know. That's okay. Yeah, that was pretty. That was a whole ordeal. It's like a
Yeah, so
stuck
that
hog was
that
going through the shop.
really that really put a dent in me. I'm still feeling that.
Ugh. Did you lose your nail?
Not yet. It's still on.
Still
It's gonna
holding
come
on.
off. But
God, it's rough.
yeah, so that weekend I'm seeing someone now, and I'm spending a lot of time with them. So I'm trying to balance my time out more because it's like I have a lot less time now.
I think you're doing pretty good because you literally went from like having all the time in the world to being like insanely busy. So it was
I
like it
know.
wasn't a smooth change at all.
I've been
I think you're doing well.
I've been doing pretty much a lot more than I was in life, it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, balancing life is a balancing act, and yeah, I think you're doing well with it. A lot of people struggle with that. I mean, I've struggled with that. It's a lot to balance life, and work, a partner, and all this other stuff. It's a lot to balance.
Yeah, I'm trying to do good. I'm not the best in relationships, so
There's
that's
nothing
something
wrong with
that's
that.
hard to balance for me.
Uh, That's pretty much got us caught up on the haps on Jordan's car.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're leaving out a weekend though, aren't we? Like there's 3, so hold on, we leaving something out. What else happened to me? Oh, my PC,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which we're probably not gonna cover that right here anyways, so but
We
yeah,
don't
that
have
that
to.
was that was the other week, so
Yeah, that was yeah, it's like everything hit you at once. It was like a big snowball. But yeah, there's some pretty major updates about my car, but I'm yet to. I'm not gonna cover that until we figure out exactly how everything's going. I don't want to tease you guys too much. There's just some details that I'm gonna keep to my little lonesome. So I do want to talk about though. This is quickly approaching. PRI is right around
Yeah,
the corner. I'm excited to announce. Of course, we are returning to PRI and awaiting our badges to come in. And I kind of want to know at the top here what some things that you guys want to see. I've kind of played around with the idea of maybe doing like a vlog or maybe just like posting a little bit more on social media, kind of just making it more about involving the fans in this because I mean got invited out to SEMA because of our last appearance at PRI, and it's pretty exciting. And I just want to, I have a lot of friends, especially in my personal life, that are like, "What's PRI like?" What's and I think it would be unique or cool to involve you guys a little bit more, so you kind of know like, hey, here's what it actually is instead of just hearing about it as a recap.
for sure.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the cars topic here. Of course, we gave you an update about Jordan's car. Also, this will be our last episode before Thanksgiving. I want to kind of talk about that and see kind of like last year we did our how to address boomers at Thanksgiving. I want to take a little bit of a different approach this time and kind of talk about how to just approach like normal conversation because that's usually what we do at our Thanksgiving. We usually just talk about cars and it's you got to have somebody in your family that's into cars and it's just the way it is.
Everyone's got that uncle with a miniature or something like that. See,
But yeah, it's that's something that I would encourage you to do is me and Jordan joke all the time about boomers. They always have just crazy takes about cars, and everything's changed since then, and they're stuck in their ways, and that's okay. Car
you
people are
ain't
car
putting
people, but
transmission fluid in your oil, then if you ain't pouring bleach in your gas tank, then you
if
ain't
you ain't
fixing
using
it.
Lucas, I love how that was your dad's go-to thing about your oil pressure. He's like, just dump a bottle of Lucas in there.
Yeah, he's like, try it. It ain't gonna hurt it.
Like we're past Lucas.
I know an issue when I see one, and Lucas ain't fixing that one.
That's my favorite thing to do at Thanksgiving is just get caught up on like what everybody's doing. Like I've got my uncle, ironically, he takes on a project every winter in his side time. He's works outside as a gutter guy. So whenever it's too cold out or snowing or whatever, he just goes in the garage and he'll usually what he used to do is he would go to Rod Run, which is typically in the fall, around October,
Yeah,
September. He would get a vehicle for, pretty cheap. They sell for some reason, that's just a big thing. They just sell people sell their cars at Rod Run. And he would take it back home with him and he'd fix it up over the winter, like whether he'd LS swap it or, like soup up a 350 and he would just flip it and sell it at the end of winter come springtime when everybody's wanting to get back out and get something to hot rod.
yeah,
But
that's the
yeah,
life.
that is life. That's kind of what I like to do at my Thanksgiving gatherings. I know you don't typically get together at Thanksgiving. Usually I'll just kind of chill and do a little intermediate family deal.
Yeah, that's we might
Nothing wrong
have
with that.
a couple relatives come by, but we keep it light.
I also wanted to throw in there that this is just like a little side tangent thing, but me and a coworker were talking, and where we're at in Bowling Green, you know where we're at. We're on the kind of, I don't know what side it would technically be, but it's on the Nashville Road side.
West
Is it the west side? I mean, it might be, but
Southwest.
we were talking to our coworker because he's got an LS SWAT Ford Ranger he's working on, and he's like, I want to use E85, but I don't go anywhere near an E85 pump. And like, I'm sitting here telling him, like, dude, it's worth just going a little bit out of your way for E85. And we were sitting there talking. We're like, yeah, Casey's in Auburn has E85. Like
Yeah.
there's another Casey's that has E85, and they just recently put one really close to us. And I'm like, it's like a no-brainer for a gas station on that side of town to have E85, like, that'd be a dang monopoly. Like, because there's only one other gas station in Bowling Green that has E85, and it's on the other side of town. That's over
Yeah.
by you. And the only other place other than that is Smith's Grove, I mean, if you're going the other way like he does, you ain't going nowhere
No.
near Smith's Grove. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna email Casey's. What's the worst that could happen? And I had Chat GPT write out an email for me, and I sent it to him. I was like, look here, like, it's the worst whenever it's LS Fest weekend and there's like 30 cars trying to go to one E85 pump in town.
Yeah. You'll get some business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you guys, this is benefiting you more than it's
Yeah.
benefiting me.
You're doing them a favor.
Like, I'm in the car community. I know what it's like. Like, we need that E85, especially I'm about to really need it.
We be thirsty. My
Like,
boy.
E85 does not give you good fuel mileage, in case you didn't know. Like,
You
you
lead the
be
horse to water.
you be having to stop way more often for E85.
The more horses you got, the more times you go for water.
That's funny. But yeah, they of course probably didn't read my email, but that's okay. Their automated computer sent me an email back, so I guess it was worth a try. It was, I didn't put no
Yeah.
brain power into writing an email, so I didn't feel like I wasted anything.
Yeah.
I, f- I,
It's
f-
worth the shot, man.
I feel like if you live in the Bowling Green area and you're just super bored, just screw it, do the same thing. If I feel like if enough of us email, maybe they'll do something, but who
Yeah.
knows? I also wanted to get into something, not to get into politics a whole lot, but I did want to mention something. Of course, the election happened, and Trump got put back in office, and that's whatever you want it to be. But it kind of affects us because there was one particular thing that I guess Kamala or maybe Joe Biden was going to do, where they were going to make a EV mandate where I don't necessarily know if it was nationwide or where it was, but they were going to start to enforce a mandate or not enforce, but they were going to send a mandate bill to be voted on for, making you have an EV. And of course, I don't have no problem with EV. I think hybrids are cool. Full EVs, I'm not going to seek one out. I'm not going to bash nobody for having one. But for you to say I have to drive this vehicle, I don't agree with. That's just my viewpoint. I'm sure it might be the end of our lifetime, maybe the next, where there is, gasoline engines are phasing out, but it's not right now, and I don't want to be forced to have to do that. So that's a big thing for me personally. I hate to get political, but that I don't want anybody forcing me to drive what I don't want to drive. Being a car enthusiast.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if gasoline engines are gonna get phased out, it's not gonna be right now. Anyways, too many people rely on them. America as a country is very based on like automobiles and just the whole auto industry. It's a really big billion-dollar industry at the end of the day. So I can't see it just going full EV, especially when a lot of manufacturers still are designing and spending millions of dollars into designing, manufacturing these engines that are gas. GM spent how much on the new generation small block? Like, they're still putting so much money into it. It's clearly not going anywhere yet. So when they try and mandate it, I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, it's just there's too many gas cars on the road to EVs, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been a humongous spike. I mean, monumental spike in sales of EVs, but there's there's areas like ours where there's not a whole lot of, like, I live out in the sticks, so it would take me like 30 minutes to get to a charging station. So I would have to like dang near plan out every single trip I went on. Granted, they get great economy. I don't know if you would consider it fuel economy, but they get great mileage. But still, that's a whole nother thing I would have to plan out. And I don't know. It's just me personally. I like you said, they've spent so much money in the automotive manufacturing industry, and it just doesn't make sense for them to have to be forced to phase that out of existence. It's just going to be something that's going to happen over time. It's not going to be anything I don't think a government will have any control over.
Yeah, I mean, every boomer with his C5 Corvette's just gonna like croak if that happens, anyways.
I mean, it,
What do you mean I can't sell my 101 97
dude, that
with the
reminds me.
white top?
I saw the best boomer thing ever. I seen I think it was a 2023 C8, and he was wanting an ungodly amount of money on it on Facebook Marketplace. And the display picture, like the very first thumbnail, was him, his wife, and the main guy from Gas Monkey Garage standing in front of it. And he's like, "This is a Gas Monkey signed car. I want this much more for it." I'm like, "Ain't no way."
I can't imagine that would make C8 go up.
Yeah, like
He's kind of like negatively viewed.
every picture I see that he takes of people, he looks like he wants to die. It's horrible.
He got into some big drama. I can't remember what it was, but like it.
We
Yeah,
might need to do an episode about that. It sounds fun.
yeah. I cannot remember his name right now. Well, I
I
used to
can't
like.
either. I know what he looks like. I never really watched. Was it? It wasn't Counting Cars. It was Gas Monkey, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Gas Monkey.
Yeah, Counting Cars is a different thing. I watched some of that.
That was like, you come home, you wake up on Saturday and you walk in the living room and your dad is watching.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how it was for
exactly.
me.
Yeah, that was me too. Just like counting cars or Gas Monkey on. Or my dad really liked Street Outlaws. He loved that show.
Did he?
Yeah, I like that show too. I got really into it, but as I like got more into being an enthusiast and like more or less just being like a knowing more about mechanically stuff, it's just like these sound effects are so wrong. It's got the same vehicles making the same dumb sounds like that.
Yeah,
A pro charged car and a supercharged car are not going to sound the same.
for real.
Like they got the same nitrous sound on every car that comes through there. And that show too, it got kind of like drama heavy. It was just mostly about like drama, like he jumped, I'm gonna beat him. Like,
That's really how it be at your local scene, though.
oh my god, you're not wrong. I got gapped. He jumped. There ain't no way. That's why I like a chase is a race. That is like the best rule in dig racing. A chase is a race. If you don't take off after him, it ain't a race. If you take off after him, that's all you, buddy. If he jumped, that's all you. You left too. Yeah, that's something else that I kind of wanted to talk about. It's not on the dock, but and we've hit on it here and there, but I want to see what you think. You work at a Ford dealer, of course, and you know all about these 50 Coyotes. What do you think about the? I'm not sure if you've heard them called this before, but the Mexican GTR,
What, the F1?
aka a boosted F1. Have you not heard them called that before?
No, I have. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, basically, if you have a 50 Coyote single cab short bed with any sort of boost, but I feel like the most common one is a Whipple or supercharger, is they're just so fast, especially if they run them in full wheel drive. They are just like it's just like the cheap poor man's GTR, pretty much.
It's that but better because you can afford to replace parts if you break it.
My God, true. I heard a guy talking about clogging oxygen sensors on a R35, and it was like, yeah, this thing's got like $600 to $1,000 in O2 sensors. I'm like, good God,
It'd be like that.
that's insane.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, how affordable is it for somebody just to pick up a single cab short bed 50 Coyote and Whipple it? Of course, the Whipple, probably about
I
10
mean,
grand.
we talking brand new or
What's about an average? Because I think they go for like what 35,000.
he could probably spend 25.
Really?
25, 30.
When
Yeah.
did they start putting the photos in the single cab short bed trucks like the Coyote 50?
I believe it was
It's like
12.
2010, 2012.
Well,
So
11 was the first year. Came in the S5 or S197, and I think the year after it came in the trucks. I could be wrong. It could have came in the trucks the same year too. I might be wrong.
Isn't it just kind of weird that this has been something that's been accessible since that like a decade ago, and people are just now getting into it? It's like they just found a gem,
It takes time.
I
2011.
guess. It makes sense too. It's just like, already having a V8 and a single cab short bed truck is ridiculous. I mean, it's not ridiculous, but you already have a lot of potential there. The only thing you're going to be fighting is course traction, but being able to have 4-wheel drive in that is like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Make sure you get the big front diff, not the little one. I
Yeah.
think all the 5.0s get the big one, but they do have a smaller one in the other trucks I know.
The only thing I've heard of to the downside to doing that, especially if you're just like a DIYer, is pinning your crank, because I've heard of people spin. I've seen, I can't remember what YouTuber it was. They actually broke the snout off the crank with
God.
Yeah, I want to say it was Cletus. Yeah, he broke the snout off his F-150. Insane, dude.
That's why you drill, not hammer. Like, I don't know what he was doing. How do you do that with a drill?
Right.
You're running low RPM or something?
I'm talking about spun the crank off like racing.
Oh, I
Or
thought you
broke the
meant while
snout.
he was drilling.
No. I'm saying he broke the snout off his crank, like roll racing.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why I said it's really important. I mean, I don't know if that would have caused the crank to snout to break,
It's
but
weakening it, no
yeah,
doubt.
definitely. I don't know. After seeing an ATI in person, I'm just like, yeah, that's so important to have if you're putting any more extra strain on your crank. Like, I don't see how. I mean, even if you're getting like a smaller blower, I feel like it wouldn't be a bad idea to get, $500 balancer just to make everything last longer. And, knowing they're a family owned business, and, it really does help out with all the harmonics, including like your oil pump and everything else. It's just, and a lifetime warranty. I don't know. I'm becoming a really big supporter of ATI. And I know a lot of people like them. They just don't want to pay the money for them. But I mean, $500 really ain't that bad. I mean, you look at every other car part, you're spending $1,000 easily.
For sure.
Ejector is $1,000, intake $1,000, heads, at least $1,000.
Heads are like $2 or $3 grand.
Yeah, if they're a nice set. I mean, if you buy a used set, $1,000. If
Ported
that.
stocks for like $1,000.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyways.
You get ported 243s for like $500, but you want some ported rec ports? All right, now you got to spend a little bit of money.
Definitely. I seen a ported throttle body for I think it was GPI ported throttle body. I can't remember how much it was. Like $150. I was like, it was a 90mm though. But yeah. Last thing I want to hit on the cars topic here is I guess cars and coffees are going to be starting to slow down, at least the attendance. I don't know when they're going to actually. I don't even know if they do come to a full blown stop. I do know that the attendance probably will. People be out there like they're going to have to be sitting in
Brian
their cars.
Kimball.
Yeah, Brian
out
Kimball
there in the
sure.
vet cart.
People going to be sitting in. I do, dude. He didn't care.
It'd be snowing outside and he out here in the vet cart.
I just love that, like, he just don't care. He is, like, such a great enthusiast. Like, he is he's just so I'm so, like, proud.
He's one of my favorite people in our community.
I was gonna say, he is a gift to our local car community.
He is.
He don't care to give you advice, he's just, like, such a cool guy to talk to, level-headed, like, he ain't gonna talk crap, like, he's just a good guy to have in a car community. Really humble too. Like he gave you the keys to like his cars and just let you have fun in it. Like that's what I like about Brian.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you missed that episode, we had him on last year, or year before last, in person. So go back and watch that episode. He's very knowledgeable. Didn't get to pick his brain as much as we probably could have, but that's okay. He was a lot of fun to have on. Brian's such a good guy.
He is a great person to always have a time to chat with.
Yeah, for sure. I guess with that being said, we can transition into our gaming topic, and I guess you can go ahead and take the floor again and explain what happened to your freshly built PC.
I mean, all right, so what do you determine freshly built as?
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I'm like, well, yeah, he does have a few months on it.
I've had it since... No, hold on, I got the date. If you give me 1 second, I can get the date. But anyways...
I'm going to consider running like it being the birth date of that PC.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the first day I had it built was January 3rd.
Okay. Well, okay, dang, time flies. I
Yeah,
guess it is quite a I mean, still though, it's
it's
a
been
new I mean,
apart for almost a year. It's 3/4 of a year.
I bought my pre-built in like 2020 and it's still going strong. That's kind of how I say. I mean, I'm on year 3 of having my PC.
Well, I'll just say this, since I fixed it, I've had 0 issues with this PC now,
I
so
would hope not.
it's amazing that see, it's just amazing that what I did
And keep in
solved that.
mind, you had been having other problems. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it would
just
and I still don't really know why, because the whole issues I had before with it crashing was NVIDIA OpenGL running out of memory, which was DDR5. My GPU running out of memory is what it was telling me, if I'm understanding that right, which I believe I am. I looked into it quite a bit. So I was like, okay, just need to upgrade my GPU in the future because this is a fresh build with my old GPU and it's only an 8 gig card. But needless to say, that wasn't it, I don't think, because it ain't happened no more. And what ended up happening is I was coming to my room and turn my PC on. I'm sitting here on my phone, like, just scrolling, desk scrolling. Finally, I'm like, shouldn't this PC be on by now? Like, my monitor didn't turn on, so I go down and look, and it's on, it's running, it's just not posting. So, my red light for my CPU and my yellow light for my RAM was on. So, first thing I do is power it off. I pull my RAM out. It was secured in all the way. I made sure that before I took it out. And then I took my CPU out, and it looked fine. It didn't look like it got hot or nothing. And I'd been monitoring my temps anyways, and they never got hot. So I'm like, damn, I don't know what this is. My motherboard, maybe? Like, I started just to guess. I was like, it can't really be my power supply. It can't be nothing I took off. Looks bad. I don't have nothing to replace it with to help diagnose it. So I let it sit for a few days thinking about what to do, and finally I go back to it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put everything back together for now, because I don't need to leave it took apart. And I make sure everything goes in right still, even though I didn't think it was going to work. And I just like, fuck it, I'm going to try it, because why not? And it booted. So I'm assuming my RAM wasn't seated correctly, because my pins on my motherboard looked fine. So I felt like it had to be RAM, because I know I put that CPU in good. I know I've messed that up one time in the past, and you don't make that mistake again.
yeah, it's man, it was kind of ironic because I don't think it was right after you got the PC done, but you're like, yeah, I honestly could see myself building PCs for a living, and then like yours just goes kablooey. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
I could
ain't
though.
no
Like
way.
that would be such a cool
Yeah,
thing to do. Like it's not something I plan on doing, but
right.
I could see it.
Yeah, that's basically what happened to your PC. It was just man, that was I thought we were gonna have to make an emergency trip to Micro Center or something. I'm like, we can't have the homie's PC down.
Just if it ain't one thing, it's another.
You're exactly right. It just sucks that it happened back to back. But I mean,
Life just be happening.
yeah, you can't control the haps. I kind of want to get into what we've been playing because I mean it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean I've been of course still insanely hooked on Phasmophobia, but I think we both been playing quite a bit of Black Ops 6. I'm getting ready to prestige on there and
I
I
am
don't
too.
okay, so I didn't know where you were. And I feel like we both have enough gameplay to kind of give kind of a where we think it is right now.
My lobbies are really sweaty.
That's for sure. I don't know. Bless
Excuse
you.
me.
I'm still getting like the worst skill based matchmaking issues. It's just like I'll play a match, and I'll dominate. Like I think I got like like 50 or 60 kill game. Yeah, 50 or 60 kill game the other day, and the match right after, I'm bottom of the leaderboard going like, barely breaking even, going like 12 and 12. It's just, I don't know. And I've
What's the
noticed that
homie doing?
nothing, man. It's just like some maps I really despise on that game. Like my coworker really likes that Babylon map. I hate it. I think it is just a cluster. Like it don't matter what game mode I'm playing, I'm getting spawn killed. Like even on team deathmatch, it's just insane. I definitely feel the complaints that people are having with the maps are too small because I'm definitely seeing that. I mean, they're not so small that they're unplayable. It's just they're very noticeably small. It's just crazy how like the first complaint on COD is that the maps are too big. Now they're too small. It's just like Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm the three whatever that fairy tale is where the just right. I feel like we just can't get it just right. You know what I mean? Goldilocks.
I definitely don't like that map in particular, but I've mainly been playing Nuketown 24/7, pretty much exclusively, so I average 60 kills most games, and that's normal. Well, no. My average is 30, so no, it's not normal. But here lately, it's like, if it's not every other game, it's like one in every 3 games I'm getting 60 kills on there, so it's always really sweaty though, and I feel like I always be getting the worst teams, and I'm not trying to be like a my teammates are bad, but like my win loss sucks, and I'm
Carrying.
constantly doing good. Like,
I do significantly worse in your lobbies, but that's just because you're quite a bit higher skill level than me. I think that's why whenever we match make, it just has such a hard time trying to find a lobby that can suit both of us. So it's just like, nah, we're just gonna stick to Jordan's skill level. I'm just
it
like,
always
God,
goes with the highest persons. Rocket League, same way.
it's so terrible. Me and Trevor didn't have that bad of a time. I think me and Trevor are kind of close to being on the same level because there'd be like that game that I went like 50 something and whatever. He went like terrible. Like I think he barely broke like 12 kills.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I've noticed that using the combat knife is pretty fun on there. It's not quite Black Ops 3 level, but you can like really move fast with a combat knife. I had a lot of fun using the combat knife on there. I think I already have it like up 3 or 4 camos on multiplayer.
Homie been grinding.
Not really. It's just fun to use. It's just like if I start dying a lot close quarters, I'm just like, nah, it's time to pull the knife out. What do you think about the zombies?
I've been playing, and I haven't done any of the Easter eggs or nothing, but I
I
really
think
like it.
I like it, but there's been some complaints that I didn't really see myself, but after them bringing it to my attention, I'm like, okay, I see that. Is that it's especially during the beginning, it's really slow,
Mhm.
and I guess that's why the apocalypse thing's there. I typically do that just to speed everything up. I'll turn it off about around 12 whenever I start to get settled in, but it seems like, and this might be a complaint from some non-zombies players, but I kind of see it too, is it goes from like 0 to 100, especially like rounds, I would say 30. Everything beyond round 30 is just like the amount of maulers that spawn in is insane.
Manglers be going crazy.
Manglers. Yeah, that's what they are. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy it though. And that's probably the most reason why I'm leveled up so high is I played so much zombies on that double XP weekend. Like I'd get to round 30 in the next field. Not because it was difficult, it's just because that was just like where I'm like, all right, it's time to exfil, gets this XP and do it again.
Mhm.
I did like 2 or 3 times. I do think your original thing was that you thought it was kind of cheesy that the zombies rank transferred over to multiplayer, and I kind of agree with that. I did like that about Black Ops 3, that, it was all separate among campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. So I
Yeah.
kind of see where you're coming from because it is kind of cheesy. Like you got to do this prestige master and ain't never played multiplayer before. You're automatically be like,
Hmm.
dang, I need to watch out for this guy, but not really because he ain't never played multiplayer before.
For sure. I just don't think it should be separate, you know? That's what I think.
Yeah, because it's completely different. I mean, it might as well be a different game. It's got the same guns, but like it ain't nowhere near being the same. What are some complaints that you have about Black Ops 6 that like you would really like to be changed?
Weapon play seems so inconsistent sometimes with my damage. Like I for real domed a dude like 3 or 4 times in the head with an AR, and it didn't kill him.
See, I've been
I
seeing that
that
inconsistencies too.
that I was just like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't like it. Wasn't wall bangs
Yeah. I mean, even like I'll shoot a dude like point blank with a shotgun and like get a hit marker. I'm like, this is a
Well,
pump
COD's
shotgun.
always kind of had that. You got to know how the pellets hit, and it can be, it just not make sense sometimes because it's so random.
That's true. But yeah, I've heard that with other guns too, like the inconsistencies in the damage. It just seems like it's not it don't seem like it's very consistent.
For sure.
And I don't know, I've heard rumors that it has to do with like not really skill-based matchmaking, but like how it adjusts you for the other players. Like say Jordan's way better than me, so COD's way of handicapping him is make his weapon do less damage. I've heard that rumor, but I doubt
I
that's
have
true. That's
too,
just
but I
insane.
don't know. It seems like
That
a lot of people say that now.
that would be so much trickery on COD's part. Like that would be insane to
Can you
handicap a
imagine
player
if
like
that
that.
got leaked? Like they found. I see. I don't think it can because there'd have to be files in the game for it, right? Like people would find.
Yeah, I mean, if people could find out the DLC map, I think somebody found like the DLC maps for like the next 3 DLCs or something in the game files. Like, yeah, somebody would definitely have dug that up by now.
Sure. And that's way more topic than anything. Like even the content. Like everyone wants skill base out. Everyone does.
Yeah, and they just recently revealed, or maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it's like 3 or 4 days away that they're bringing back ranked play, and it's just like, okay, so can we do something about this sweaty casual lobbies then? Like, it just makes no sense at all. Like I don't even care if you won't let me rank up in casual. Just like have two separate ranks. Just let me enjoy COD again.
For real.
Like
It don't need to be sweatfest. Like
I shouldn't be
yeah, I
getting
like
mad at
pub
casual.
stomping, but yeah, I should exactly because it's COD.
Like I'm a working dude, man. I want to come home from work, kick back, relax, play some COD. Like if it's a weekend and I'm trying to like mess some people up, yeah, I'm gonna jump in some ranked. I'm about to, clap some cheeks. But like if I'm fresh off work, I ain't hopped in aim lab or nothing. I'm trying to just play some casual and hang out. Now
Yeah,
to play casual, you got to play dang zombies.
for real.
Like you just can't relax and play multiplayer anymore. It seems like I just miss the old days. Yeah, that's kind of
Where
my
did time go?
that's just a good spill on Black Ops 6. That's just kind of what we've been playing. Season 1 of course dropped. I for some reason had enough COD points to buy the season pass. I've never bought any. I haven't bought COD points since Black Ops 6 or sorry, Black Ops 3. And somehow I guess I've just acquired enough free ones. So it said you got enough for the battle pass. I'm like, all right, sure. I don't care. Might as
So you
well.
know how we saw people that were Menendez running around?
Yeah, that's like a prestige. I think you got prestige 6 times to get the Black Ops 2
5.
stuff. Oh, 5, yeah. Yeah, I told you about that before you got on the game.
I forgot.
Yeah, you can play as Menendez, and I can't remember. You could play as somebody from Black Ops 3, I think. I think it's a mix between I think it's a mix between the
Is that
I want to
Karma?
who's the one Battery, that's what her name is. It's
Oh,
that
is that
operator.
better?
Yeah. It's supposed to be a mix between Battery and somebody else. I want to say maybe the Gravity
There's
Spike guy.
3.
Oh, really?
I'm looking right now. There's 3. Black Ops 4? Cold
Yeah.
War?
Oh yeah, they brought back every COD. Like they did us right on that one.
I like how the Black Ops 2 one has the transit bus dude as the
I
emblem.
know. I really hope they bring back transit. I think it almost is confirmed that we're getting transit back. I don't know. I could be speaking. Oh no, it's Dizendrock. I knew it was an old
Mm-hmm.
map. Yeah, that's exciting because I mean that's Origins, but not as
I
good of
remember the
Origins.
day that dropped and
I
we
do
played.
too. That's like the dollar store version of Origins, but that's okay. I still love it.
Origins will never be beat.
No, it won't be. I guess we'll get into some Q&A to wrap up this episode because there's quite a pile here, and I've chosen a few select ones. This guy here, this is a few of these are going back to cars, some of these are gaming, so just bear with me. This guy says that he has a 2011 SS. He just got LS3 car 6 speed,
Mm-hmm.
and he's wanting to know what our recommendations are on some first modifications because he's got some money left over and he wants to add some horse purse.
So is it just adding horsepower or
Yes. He's wanting to get more
just more
fast.
power?
Yeah, more
Not
power.
handling or nothing.
No,
Got
no,
you.
no.
All right. Depends on your budget. The first thing you're gonna want to do is obviously headers.
Yeah.
That's because you want to do your baseline first. And for a while, this is probably gonna surprise people, but I'm leaving stock intake on for a while. Like my car came with a cold air, so I got it, but I would run stock if I had it. It's not gonna hurt it.
My stock intake had a hole in it, so I didn't have a choice. My intake box.
But yeah, first thing gonna be headers. Next is gonna be a cam kit of your choice. And headers typically, we'll say you get Speed Engineering, so it's gonna be like 700-ish bucks. And if you do it yourself, you're not out anything. And we'll just say you're doing this yourself, because you don't have to be. I mean, I think you could do that, like you don't have to be that mechanically inclined, and you're more mechanically inclined than most people. But I mean, what would you say? I think most people could do headers if they wanted.
Yeah, definitely, and especially if it don't have a lot of miles on it, you might not have to worry about that back header bolt breaking off. But that would be a shot in the dark because that they just get so many heat cycles that they're so brittle.
Mm-hmm.
If you have access to a lift, 1,000,000% headers are so easy. Even if you don't get some jack stands, I don't know. Long tubes underneath the car is kind of a pain. Speaking from experience.
Same.
Yeah, I agree with what you say, especially if you have the budget. Cam's Wake Up LSs, it's insane how much horsepower a cam adds. A cam and a tune. I mean, you're looking at
Yeah.
what 80
And,
to 100 wheel.
and if you can really afford to put the money down, a set of heads will always pair good with any performance mod.
Especially if you're staying in a.
you're people. I mean, yes, the cam. So the reason the cam works so good is because the heads are pretty good out the box, right? So your camshaft is allowing more air and fuel. I mean, it's mainly just air because your injector's adding fuel, right? But it's a lot more air to intake and exhaust, right? So less restriction. So you flow more air, right? So your cam is what allows the air in, and your head is what limits it almost, if you think about it, because it's limited to your head design. If your cam is really big but your head's stuck, you're not going to see as much gain. So this is why the cam is so good in the LS, because the head is already good out the box. So if you can afford to pair a really good set of heads with a cam, you're going to see quite a bit of gain, especially if you get a good combo.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. Uh, Other than that, I don't. That's pretty much hit that on the head as far as power goes. And yeah, I'm happy to hear you got a new car, man. It's that's exciting. I'll never forget whenever I got mine. It's just like it's a whole nother animal.
Dude, it was my first stick shift car I owned too, so it's just, man, the memories. It's crazy to think that I've had it for so long now. It's like been a part of me. And it's just a car, like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Speaking of stick shift here, hey guys, I'm a weekend DIY YouTube certified mechanic. My clutch is going out in my TR.
Yes, sir.
My clutch is going out in my TR 6060. I want to know if it's something that you guys would recommend me doing on my own, or if I should pay a shop. I'm pretty intimidated by it.
It depends. Are you in a Corvette or a Camaro?
Didn't specify.
Yeah, if you're in a Corvette, you need a lift, 100%. I mean, I would really advise you to have one doing the Camaro, but it is definitely doable without. If it's in a Camaro and he said TR 6060, I think it's technically something else in the 6th gen, so that means it's either fits in Camaro, Chevy SS, or, something of that nature, G8. So,
This is all you. I don't know. Clutches is out of my wheelhouse.
it's pretty easy, and here's a little bit of advice if you've never done it, because it seems like, if you're asking, you're probably not too familiar with doing many of them. I would go ahead and do a new pilot bearing in your crankshaft while you're there, just for good measure, because you never know until you're in there. It's better to have it in case, because it's relatively inexpensive, maybe 30-40 bucks. So get a spare pilot bearing, and I always like to just go ahead and do a slave cylinder with the throwout bearing as well. But if you don't want to do the slave, I would at least do the throwout bearing. and make sure you Loctite your bolts on your flywheel. That's not like a must, but I just do that. I think it's good practice. So yeah, I think if you're, YouTube certified Chris Fix helping you out, I think you got it. Just make sure, you got a escape plan. Like make sure it's not your only transportation. If you get too deep, like something breaks, that's always not a good situation. But I think anyone could do that if they wanted. If you can put a cam in one, you think, then you could do that. It's pretty easy to remove the trans. Just one quick connect for the slave, and your harness and your mount and bolts, and no torque converter on a manual. Yay!
Yeah, ain't that fun whenever you
You don't
forget
got to
one of
make as
those.
much of a mess. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that
forget
too.
the torque converter nuts. And you're like, why ain't it coming out? Oh, it'll come out. Just torque converter's gonna stay on the engine.
This guy says, love listening to the show at work. I recently got moved from being a lube tech to a tech.
Heck yeah.
I want to learn from the master techs, but I don't want to sound stupid. You have any advice moving from lube tech to tech on, I guess he just don't want to sound dumb.
Yeah,
I don't ask questions. I
just
mean,
you want
they
advice,
understand.
and probably just want advice. In general, moving from lube tech to tech. So you're probably gonna go to flat rate, and that is if you've never been there, which I wasn't when I moved to being a tech. It's definitely a challenge if you're in a place financially where you need like 40 hours of your pay. Like, because being flat rate, you may only get 20 a week if you're having a real slow week in the winter, like we do at Ford. So, um, make sure first that you can do this financially. And I think if you're willing to learn and, be maybe a bit of a hustler, you can definitely do it. And make sure that people get intimidated on diags, and because there's a lot of new stuff to learn when you're diagnosing a car for the first time. It's stressful, and if it's not like a suspension concern, if it's like electrical, I remember that was like the scariest to me before I knew what I was doing. So if you don't know what you're doing, just research into it as much as you can before you get to it. It might take you some time, and then going into asking for advice or help, I mean, it can definitely depend on the tech because, right, some can be not so willing to help, and then some, I feel like that's how they all are at my work, is they're really willing to help you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be intimidated. Like, I'm a Larry Davidson at my work. He's someone I look up to a lot in terms of how good his work quality is and how smart he is. I mean, he just knows so much. So I find it an honor just to be able to ask him for his advice or even to look at something, because he's a walking like book. So just to work someone around that, is it's amazing to see how they work, and obviously try to intimidate some of that.
Yeah, and as long as you're learning and retaining and that's the
Yeah.
most
I
important thing.
think I think if you show a good work ethic and you're not just there to dick around, that your manager, your boss is going to be perfectly fine with you messing up. I think that's part of the process. Lord knows I have. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I won't sit here and lie to you and say I've never made them, and I'll make more, I'm sure.
Definitely. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for tonight. Hopefully, we'll have some sort of an update about what's going on with my car in the near future, and hopefully, we'll be back on a regular schedule. I hope you guys enjoy and have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and we will catch you guys in the next one.